Oh, baby. If this happens, you're going to be fired up. I'll tell you what I mean coming up. But first, I want to say thank you to every single person that has been buying Giants Now merchandise. You guys have been showing so much love. We are adding more to our storefront. And I've heard the comments. We want hoodies, Marsh. Well, with our new Harbaugh Giants design, we've got hoodies, a white one and a blue one for $44.99. You can get it at chatsports.com/NYG hire. I'll make sure that link is clickable in the comments and the descriptions. But I know people still want t-shirts, and we've got t-shirts as well in the same color, same design for $29.99. That's chatsports.com/NYG hire. And if you're like me, you want a hoodie and you want a shirt, we've got a deal for you. Get both and save $10, only $64.99. That discount will automatically be applied once you check out from the storefront. Again, get your shirts, get your hoodies, chatsports.com/NYG hire, because John Harbaugh, you're a New York Giant. This is New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am Marshall Green, and is Carmen Bricillo going to stick around on the Giants coaching staff and hold his spot as the offensive line coach? Rumors are heating up, and even John Harbaugh talked about potentially keeping Bricillo. I know that John Harbaugh is meeting with current Giants coaches today and tomorrow, and he will decide the fate of those gentlemen. But Patricia Traina saying this: had a chance to speak with John Harbaugh's dad, Jack Harbaugh. We'll have that coming up from today's busy day. But one thing I can tell you is Jack Harbaugh recommended to his son, John Harbaugh, to retain the Giants offensive line coach, Carmen Bricillo. And like John said, his dad told him he better take this job. He did. And now his dad is saying you better keep Carmen Bricillo. And I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Dan Duggan also saying this on Twitter: I was told the Giants have strongly recommended offensive line coach Carmen Bricillo. Don't expect Harbaugh to import his offensive line coach from Baltimore, so that could be a match. Also talks about how the tight end coach Tim Kelly is another assistant I heard got an endorsement from the Giants. Ultimately, like with most things going forward, it'll be John Harbaugh's call. And look, if you can keep Carmen Bricillo, a guy that has kind of changed the production from this offensive line, which we will show you in a second, I think that would be pretty cool to keep some continuity on that offensive line. I also got to give a huge shout out to Sean Marash at WFAN on the Evan and Tiki Show, and the co-host of Talking Giants with my guy Justin Pennick. On the Evan and Tiki Show yesterday, they had John Harbaugh on. And Sean asked him, are there any coaches on the current staff you're thinking about keeping? And John Harbaugh went on to talk a little bit, and Sean was like, yo, we love Bricillo. And Harbaugh was like, yeah, okay, I'll mention that to him. You know, that's not the first recommendation I've gotten either. So he's heard it from Sean, he's heard it from the Giants, he's heard it from his dad. And if he wants to keep Jermaine Illuminor as his right tackle, who's a free agent, he might want to pay attention to this, where Jermaine said that Carmen Bricillo is one of the best in the NFL when it comes to being an offensive line coach. And it's hard to kind of say that he's not. Look at where the Giants' offensive line was in 2023 when Bricillo was not here. Their run blocking grade, according to PFF, it was the 30th ranked run blocking unit. They were dead last in pass blocking, and they allowed 45 sacks. At least the offensive line was credited with allowing 45 sacks. Insert Carmen Bricillo. The run blocking of the offensive line run blocking grade, it goes from 30th to 23rd. The pass blocking goes from 32nd to 28th, and they allow 13 less sacks. And then this year, with a healthy Andrew Thomas and the offensive line staying healthy, and the second year under Carmen Bricillo, the run blocking jumps up to the 20th best. The pass blocking becomes a top 10 unit, and they give up almost half as many sacks in 2025 compared to 2024. Only 17 sacks were charged to the offensive line. That's a position you don't want to mess with. I think you want to sign Jermaine Illuminor and bring him back. You have a young quarterback, invest in that. But man, I'm just kind of rolling with the punches at this point. As bad as I would love for Carmen Bricillo to be back, and I know you guys do too. I've been in the comment section. I message with you guys all day long. Marsh, Harbaugh's got to keep Carmen Bricillo. And I would love that. But I'm kind of just like, I'm cool with whatever Harbaugh wants. Like when you have the resume that he has, I'm kind of just cool with rolling with the punches. And there's no hire that he's going to make. And I'm be like, is he stupid? What is he doing? Because it's John frickin' Harbaugh. I will say this. The offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator, they have to be on the same page. If you want to create a dominant rushing attack, you need your offensive line coach and your offensive coordinator to believe in the same things, to scheme things up in similar fashions. You need that run game to be married. And if your offensive line coach and your OC are not on the same page, you're not going to get the best results. And I'm not saying that Todd Monken and Carmen Bricillo won't work together. I'm just telling you it is important for those two to be joined together at the hip. I'll just say this. Look, I'm going to have my thoughts on who the offensive coordinator and who the defensive coordinator could be and should be and all of the different position coaches that I want to see wearing Giants blue. And I'll have my opinions. But I'm kind of just going to let John Harbaugh cook for now. Like, he's got my trust. And I'm a guy, you have my trust until you burn that bridge. And Harbaugh, he has done enough in this league over 18 years with the Ravens, winning over 180 games, 13 in the playoffs, 8 on the road in the playoffs, most NFL history. For me to kind of just be like, okay, that's what John wants to do. That's probably the best case scenario. Maybe that changes one day, but right now, I'm going to let John Harbaugh cook. Jordan Arnott of ESPN, who covers the Giants, saying the belief is that the Giants with John Harbaugh have or will request permission to speak with a significant number of Ravens coaches and employees, perhaps submitting over 20 slips. The Ravens are in the midst of a coaching search, but their current special teams coordinator, Chris Horton, who the Giants have requested to interview, the Ravens have blocked that. Now, if the Ravens go and hire, I don't know, Jesse Minter, which sounds like that's going to happen, he'll decide the future of Horton. And then if he does not retain Horton, he can go and interview for the Giants job. So I would not be shocked if Harbaugh kind of sits for a while, sees what happens in Baltimore, and then brings over some of his old coaches if they don't stick around with the new head coach that's going to be taking over the Baltimore Ravens. Do you have faith in John Harbaugh to turn this around, to make the Giants competitive once again? If you do, hit that thumbs up icon. Let's get to 2,000 likes on today's show. Let's close the show out with this. I know you guys are going to love this as well. Diana Rossini reported the Eagles are conducting their offensive coordinator search with the understanding that Brian Daboll wants the Bills' head coaching job. If he doesn't land it, Daboll is expected to wind up at Tennessee as the offensive coordinator for Cam Ward and the Titans. Why does this matter? Because Brian Daboll interviewed for the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator job. And we're being told he turned them down and said, I do not want to work for the Eagles. I do not want to be your offensive coordinator. He's essentially choosing, if he doesn't get the Buffalo Bills head coaching job, Cam Ward and the Titans over Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. What does that say about what's going on in Philly right now? To make it even better, Mike McDaniel, the former head coach for the Miami Dolphins, he chose to go be the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. And he was interviewed by the Eagles. And the Eagles really wanted him. And he chose Justin Herbert and the Chargers over Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Nobody wants the Philly offensive coordinator job. They all saw what happened to Kevin Patullo. They saw what happened to Kellen Moore when they were trying to fire him last year before they turned things around. It is a very high-profile job, but, man, there are high expectations, and it seems like it's a job that you can't ever really get an A+ for. And you know what? It might just get even worse for Philly. Mike Garafolo saying the Eagles interviewed Matt Nagy for their offensive coordinator job today. Nagy, an intern, an assistant for Andy Reid in Philly from 2008-2012, is currently exploring a few offensive coordinator options. He's been the offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy, for the Kansas City Chiefs for the last couple of years. What's happened to the Chiefs' offense the last couple of years? They just decided to move on from Matt Nagy and call up their old ex-girlfriend, Eric Bieniemy, and say, come on back home. We thought the grass was greener with Nagy, but it's not. If the Eagles end up with Matt Nagy as their offensive coordinator, oh, we're going to be celebrating on this show. Look, I think the facts are the facts. The Eagles' championship window is closing. It may have already closed. And the Giants, they have a rocket attached to their back, and they're going to the moon. One team and organization is plummeting, and one team is starting to find their footing, and they are rising and rising and rising. What a time it is to be a New York Giants fan. Major shout out to everybody that tuned into today's video. If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up icon. Get your Harbaugh Giants hoodie and shirt. Go to chatsports.com/NYG Hire and make sure you are following me on social media.